back in, taking you back to Friday night. The big talking points at VAR failing to award a penalty for Adrian Truffaut's challenge on Ahmad. Look, Man United, they're going to make an official complaint, a formal complaint, to head of referees Howard Webb. First of all, look, Dermot, what did you make of the decision?
I think they're both penalties. And I think the problem that happened is not giving that one. It must manifest itself later because the second one is also a goal scoring opportunity. So their argument is it's a penalty. If you look at them, they're so similar. So I think, on balance, give both.
And look, because Christie goes up the other end and scores, does that get the officials out of making a big decision on the Ahmed penalty appeal?
It's just an unfortunate consequence, isn't it, Hayley, that, you look at that. The referee has got the most perfect position. If you look, it's not quite in this picture here, but he's looking straight at it. And in fairness, he waves it away straight away. Ball goes up the other end, it goes to the net. Ironically, the VAR is still checking the decision when the ball goes in the net. So
why wouldn't they have just told him that he's made a mistake?
Well, they can't tell him he's made a mistake. What they can say is it a clear and obvious error? And Stewart's obviously fed back to them. I don't think it's enough of a shove. I don't think there's enough in it. They look at it and they back the referee.
But like you said there, Derms, the referee is in a great position to see everything. And, when you look at it, I had some friends saying, it's soft, he's gone down too easy. Amad Diallo must be about, 5'6", right? And the defender's obviously in the wrong position and he's shoved him. And then the way he's fallen, it doesn't look like he's not exaggerated that at all. He's just off balance. So I can't understand why the referee hasn't seen that and he's made the decision against that. And I think that is the reason why this whole commotion has started now, because I think if the Maguire ones happens first, this one is then a penalty, I think. But it's obviously happened the other way around, and I know it's hindsight. But it's definitely a penalty for me.
Yeah, look, on that, fans are comparing that challenge to Harry Maguire's on Evan Nielsen, which saw a red card. Here we are, passage of play. Why are they different, Dermot?
Well, that's what I said, Hayley. If you look at it, this one is slightly different. It's a goal-scoring opportunity, but you look at the way he does it. It's almost when you see them together, you say, well, either they're both penalties or neither of them are penalties, because whichever way the referee jumps, people would expect him to jump the same way twice. In fairness, he may well think later, well, I've learnt from the first one. Looks back and says, well, this one is, I can't repeat the mistake.
Again, I would like to hear the referee come out and say something based upon that.
Yeah.
Like the referee in Germany did last week. He said he made a mistake. I think, no one likes to see mistakes, but it will make things better if the referee came out and said that. But I think this one here was Evan Nielsen's brilliance, by the way. It was a great first touch, and he's touched it back where Maguire doesn't want to go. I think there's less contact with that one than the Diallo one. But I think Evan Nielsen's first touch has made him get in that position. So it was great play from him, but I think both of them are penalties.
And what we call for every week is consistency. Is this issue about referee consistency? Or is it VAR just meant to spot clear and obvious errors?
Well, consistency is great as long as you get it right every time, isn't it? But
yeah.
if we agree the first one's a penalty, so we agree that's wrong, do you want him to get the second one wrong just to be consistent, or do you want him to go, I'm going to get that one right? So that's the problem with consistency. It's brilliant if it does what you want, but it's like VAR. VAR is great if it gives the decision you want.
Yeah, an issue with how VAR is applied, because you just want that right decision, don't you?
And that's why it's there, isn't it? So you can get that right decision. You especially how long these people take at VAR. Like if you're rewinding it and seeing it and checking it, speaking to your colleagues, I don't understand why there's a lot of wrong decisions. And again, a lot of these decisions for me that they do get wrong are common sense. And it's not me being disrespectful to the referees, but I think that when you've played the game, I think the better referees, in my opinion, are the ones that actually have an understanding of the game because they've played it. And it's not to say you're playing at the highest level, any level, but I think it's the ones that haven't played the game are the ones that have a different interpretation of what is a foul and what isn't. And I think that's where the game comes into the inconsistent things we don't want to see.
I think, though, you've got to be careful that VAR isn't a panacea. It's not there to get everything right, and it never will. VAR is there to correct the the Thierry Henry handball, if you like, in the World Cup. It's things like clear and obvious errors. It's not there to re-referee. It's not there to go, Jay, you've got this wrong, so you've got to do this. You know, you've got to be mindful that there's always going to be a subjective element.
And that's where I think that the debate comes into play, because yes, it is subjective, but I feel like the referees, the officials that get more decisions right are the ones that have actually played the game rather than the ones that have just looked at the rules from a textbook.
Okay, look, Michael Carrick compared the Ahmad incident to this penalty given for a foul on Matheus Cunha. So comparing it to that, is that a fairer comparison?
There's no question, this one. I mean, it's great play from Cunha, and you can see him. He's actually grabbed his shirt. Yes, Cunha's gone down. People might say he's made the most of it, but he's got this view is the best view. Like, he's grabbing him. He feels it. He's gone down, but it's good play from the forward. But that one's obvious, I think.
Yeah.
And look, another one to bring you here as well. We've got Bournemouth fans. I mean, they're asking why Evan Nilsson wasn't awarded a penalty in the first half. This you can see here. Maguire pushing him. What do you think to this one then?
I didn't think this was a penalty, actually. I think both players are tangled, but Evan Nilsson's overrun the ball anyhow. I think there's minimal contact, but for me, I wouldn't give that if I was a referee.
And I don't know, I think if that was me, I'd be asking for it.
Well, I was a forward.
If that was me, I'd be asking for that. But I kind of understand why it hasn't been given, and I think it's what you said. The ball is going behind him. And then the fact that Evan Nilsson didn't really appeal for it. He didn't throw his hands up and stand up and start running towards the referee. He just kind of let it go.
Linton, you always said that you felt like this League Cup final would then impact the rest of the season and how that the title race pans out. What are your thoughts now that we know the answer, we know who's won it?
No, but Pep just said it there. Arsenal are the favourites, and Arsenal are the favourites still for me. Do you know why they're the favourites? Because they had the draw against Forest and West Ham. If Man City had won those both games, I'm telling you now, after watching it yesterday, City would have gone on and won the Premier League, because it would have been a mentality thing and a big shift at the moment. I'm not saying it's totally over. But if I had to pick the here and now, Arsenal are going to win the Premier League, because you look at the games it's just so tight with the remaining fixtures that they have.
But they've got the points on the board, haven't they?
And that's what I mean. They've got the points on the board. And you look at the teams that they've got to play. Fulham at home, not maybe an outside chance of Europe. Palace away. By then, Palace could be concentrating if they're in the Europa Conference League final. Burnley, it could be West Ham. The toughest game for me on paper is probably West Ham away. And yeah, maybe Newcastle at home. But the West Ham game, they were fighting for their lives. But you never know what effect like yesterday could have on that Arsenal team.
It's more about response now, isn't it?
It is a response. They'll be hurting, They'll be hurting. You know why they'll be hurting? Because they've had to sit there and watch Man City lift the trophy and celebrate in front of them. So they'll be hurting. But whatever happened to them yesterday was they were nowhere near good enough, though. It was a shadow of the Arsenal I've seen this season. But they'll be hurting, and they will recover, and they will come again. And I look at that fixture list, and I do think, they could go unbeaten from now to the end of the season, but...
Which would include a win over City, then?
No, sorry. I think City beat Arsenal. I think there'll be 3 points in it. I think Man City will beat Arsenal. I do think Man City will beat them at the Etihad. But what Man City have got is Chelsea before that. They take one game at a time, because Chelsea are not in good form at the moment. But I do believe Man City will beat Arsenal. But I still think Arsenal will go on and win the Premier League, because after that, I think the toughest game then, in my eyes, is West Ham. We're fighting for their life. If West Ham take points off them, it's open. But you just don't know how damaging that defeat was for Arsenal. But I think they've got a good manager, a good group of players that will rebuild and go again. But the performance I saw from Arsenal in the second half is not what I've seen. They missed Eze big time.